Good evening. Usually when we have an actor on the show, he's full of plans and projects and future bookings, and to hear him tell it, he barely has a few moments to drop by and has to get out early. And my guest tonight is Tony Perkins, and at the end of my staff notes on him, there's a very refreshing statement that Tony says he doesn't have any idea what he's going to do next. It's very refreshing to hear that. In this case, that might be just as well. He just opened on Broadway with Mia Farrow in a play called Romantic Comedy, which in fact it is, and it looks like a long run. And when you've done as many things as Tony has, you don't have to really worry about what's next. He's 40 movies, Broadway. He did a collaboration with Stephen Sondheim, the screenplay for The Last of Sheila. He's had a successful outing as a director, Bruce J. Friedman's Steam Bath off Broadway. So right before our eyes, the crazy kid in Psycho has become an all-around man of the theater and the movies. Will you welcome, please, Tony Perkins. Sir. Say, it's been a while since I've seen you, and the last time, I think maybe we agreed that we would make that the last time you ever had to talk about the movie Psycho.
And here you are.
And here we are bringing it up. I just realized that as I said it, but
that's okay. I don't care.
Certainly, does it still lead the field as the number one thing that people recognize you from,
or say probably?
Oh, I can't take a shower, and the whole. You must be numb to.
But it's a funny thing about that show, because the people who have spoken to me about it in restaurants and airports, on the streets, and department stores, wherever, and believe me, they have numbered probably by now into the tens of thousands. I don't think there's one that has ever talked about the picture with anything other than an expression and a feeling of pleasurably being frightened and pleasurably being scared and intrigued, and the suspense of it. Sometimes when you see a picture that goes too far, your pleasure and your motor that tells you whether you're liking something, and it goes on the needle goes into the red, and you haven't had a good time. I guess we can all name plenty of pictures that have just exceeded the bounds of taste and possibility for entertainment. But I don't think Psycho did that. I think that was one of the things that makes Hitchcock such a genius. He knows exactly how far to go, and he doesn't go any further.
He knows just where the needle is going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you agree with that?
I do. I'm trying to think of the last time that a movie really scared me.
Scared you to the...
In fact,
the point where you
Psycho was the last time I got a genuine scare from a film. Occasionally they can...
How about The Omen?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, you should see that.
Will The Omen scare me?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are people who say, when they hear an ad saying it'll scare the wits out of you, they say, well, why should I go see it? I don't want to be scared. It's like it's saying it'll hurt you, or it'll...
but that's the point. If it's on the entertainment side of scaring you, then people like it. And it's always with a smile that people talk about Psycho. An unconscious one that, oh, my wife this, and she won't go into the shower, she won't do this. But it's always with that slight smile of having been entertained as well as scared. Yeah. I mean, a picture like Repulsion, for instance, which came out almost at the same time that Psycho did, I think went too far. And plenty of pictures have gone too far.
It's Roman Polanski.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the pictures like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and pictures like that. I don't know. Maybe they... Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I'd like to, I think. Unless it's going to scare me. A friend of mine made a movie with Hitchcock and said that the great fun, aside from watching him work, was hearing him tell stories in the... Well, it was an English actor, as you would know when I said the word caravan. He said, as we sat around in the caravan, it's our word for trailer, I mean theirs, he liked to, the way a magician will describe a trick and then say, try and guess how I do that. He would describe a scene in a film and then say, how did I get that effect? Did you get any of that? Because I love those.
Not really, because we were shooting with a television crew and shooting very quickly. This was Hitchcock's ideal way to make a picture in the 60s, I guess it was. Not a lot of sitting around, not a lot of time taken to change sets and to do lots of things that would waste his time. He wanted to get on with it. He wanted to make it very quickly. He made it, I think, in something like 4 weeks. Very, the same time that it would take to make a television film today. Yeah. And of course, it was in black and white. But he didn't have too much time for stories. He had a lot of time, though, for collaboration with the actors. He was very, very good about that. He didn't he didn't use his strength and his might as a director. He wanted to know all about how we wanted to do it and where we wanted to be and how we wanted to dress and stand and do the lines. In a way, I almost think somehow he was showing off his ability to share things with actors because, of course, he's well known for having an iron hand.
Can you understand his saying, and do you think it's true, that when he claims he doesn't enjoy the making of the movie as much as he does the planning of it? Because you're a director as well as an actor.
Well, of course, I've never directed films, but when you look at the extent of the preparation that he puts forth on a picture, any picture, including that one, you can see that he considers that it's done. It's already finished on the first day of shooting. The shooting is the gift wrapping, but the actual present is already inside the box.
Tony, did you actually, as in some B movies of the period, hang around the Hollywood gates and get a break once they said, hey, there's that kid out there?
Yeah, I did. I hung around the Hollywood gates. I had the presumption to believe that because I had played a part in summer stock of a play that was being filmed in 1950, I guess it was, or 51, I figured since I'd already played it, I would get a chance to screen test for it. I mean, how do you like that?
Where had you played it in stock?
Oh, I played it in stock in Delaware. Now, I think the chances that at MGM they would have realized that my playing this part in Delaware would have given me a leg up on the possibilities for getting the movie role. I didn't think about that. I thought it was logical that they would let me at least test for it.
That's adorably naive.
Yeah,
I mean, because you were an unknown kid. And
Oh,
you're not
totally
talking. He's not talking about last summer.
Yeah, right. So I half thumbed and half took Greyhound buses out to MGM and presented myself to the casting people there. I was lucky to get in. There's bars in front of the windows, though, so you can't get too far. And I explained that I'd already played the part, and the guy said, great, fine, you know, we'll let you know. And that was the end of that. And I kept going back week after week saying, you know, maybe you've changed your mind. It did turn out that they were going to test an actress for the part of the girl, and they needed somebody to feed the lines to her.
That's the guy who sort of stands with his back to the camera.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And they were looking through their lists of so-called talent, quote unquote, as to who could do that. And somebody said, that kid's been hanging around. He played the part. He could do it. I mean, it really did happen. It sounds like out of a backstage movie. But they, and I happened to show up. And they said, oh, yeah. You'll come in tomorrow at 9 o'clock and do the screen test. Just the back of your head. Don't bother shaving or getting dressed up for this. So on the test, George Cukor, who was directing the test, at one point told me I was too near the center of the frame. He wanted me over to one side so he could see the actress. And he said, you, move over. And I turned around literally like this. And I said, me? Oh, he just went off there. Okay, I'm trying to demonstrate a point here. Never mind, forget it. Okay. And I turned into the picture, which when it was screened later, they looked at the girl. They decided she was wrong, but literally somebody said, wait a minute, that guy, the guy that did the test where he didn't say any lines, but just look at him right there. Rewind it. Let's look at it again. And that's how I got the job.
That's a wonderful story. And it was just if you hadn't happened to...
If I happened to turn into...
Like
I think I knew what I was doing. I figured they were just going to shoot the back of my head. I might as well try to get my face in it once.
Now, was there a muffled laugh from the casting man when you said, here I am, I've already played this part?
It wasn't muffled, no.
Not all that muffled,
no.
Huh? The other thing about you, and you'll probably be very mad at me for revealing this,
oh, gosh.
Is that you've never learned to act. By that I mean, excuse me, I just have to have a drink here. Now I can say it.
He means I didn't go to school.
By that I mean, you've never learned to act.
Formally.
Formally,
no.
Yes, I could have put that so much better. But that's not, I guess it's not that unusual.
No, I don't think so.
But I wonder if you ever,
What do you
How
learn?
would you be better if you...
I don't know. I guess I would be better. I would know more technical things, I guess. I would know more things about my voice. I would know more things about physical movement. I don't know a lot about that. I'd like to, but I just don't.
Your father died when you were 5, I believe. Is that about right?
Mm-hmm.
Osgood Perkins. And I guess I didn't realize he had made that many films. He made some films.
Mm-hmm.
Can you recall your real memories of your father as
No,
opposed to your...
I have only screen
have any?
memories of my father. It sounds like a John Updike short story, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Screen memories,
of
not
my...
only screen memories, not home movies, but screen memories of a parent playing a role, you know. So you look very closely. You wonder which is the real, which is my real father and which is my father acting a role.
That would be very unusual.
Yeah.
Do you ever...
Well, I watch him most closely when he's in the background in the scene, when he's not talking, and or maybe when they're just cutting to him for a reaction shot. So to try to get as simplified and as mannered a version of what my parent was like, because I don't remember him at all.
And the voice does not ring a bell of when you remember hearing, even though you were only 5 years. It's odd about that. There are people who have clear memories of dead parents at very early ages, and others who have none even up into 8, 9, and 10 years old.
I'm sure it's deeply psychological. Things that are too painful to remember, you either choose not to or you force it into the foreground, whatever works for you.
You're one of those people who isn't afraid that analysis will ruin your work. I think we've talked about this. It's kind of a hoary old subject, but
I'm not afraid.
It's still around, you know. There's still artists who are afraid to get into, have anyone else get into their head because they think that's where their art dwells, and if somebody pokes around in there...
Well, it is where one's art dwells. Of course it is, but since analysis is such an educative process, you only learn more about... You can't learn less about yourself, and if you learn more about yourself, you're learning more about your art as well. So it is a hoary subject, and it is a tired idea, but looked at afresh, it really doesn't make much sense, although I will agree that in the 50s, when everyone was being analyzed and all the people I knew were in lengthy and complicated systems of analysis, I resisted it along with many actors of the day, but it's a dumb idea. It just doesn't make sense, really.
I think Olivier is one who's, and possibly Brando, have said that they would think it might interfere with their work.
Well, Brando's had many, many years of analysis. We used to go to the same analyst, so I used to see him in the waiting room. So I don't think it ever...
I may be wrong about that.
Well, about him, I think you're mistaken. I don't know about Olivier.
I must be. Do you know who the greatest actor in the world is?
Tell me all about it.
No, does anybody know?
Oh, I see. I thought you were going to hit me with something clever.
No, I'll try to later, but...
I think the greatest actors and actresses in the world are those rare beings who, when we see them on the screen in close-up, we can read their thoughts and feelings without words. To me, that's the high mark of great acting, to be able to read thoughts and feelings. I mean, when Meryl Streep, for instance, when you see her on the screen, she doesn't, to use a contemporary example, she doesn't have to speak. You can see what she's thinking, and you can feel what she's feeling. It's beautiful.
Can that be taught?
Oh, I'm sure that cannot be taught. It can't. That's beyond technique.
Yeah. I was on a show, on someone else's show with a group of actors recently. Actually, it was the Cupsonet show in Chicago, and you know how everybody's sitting around. And several actors there felt that Paul Scofield is the finest living actor. You always hear it's either Brando, Olivier, and sometimes Paul Scofield.
I don't get into categorizing that much, do you?
I don't see how you can tell that. I didn't make my point there very well, but the idea that you can tell who won a race because somebody comes over the line sooner, or you can tell who's taller by measuring them. But when it comes to as complicated a thing as great acting, how do you see...
Or even good acting.
Define the winner. Yeah.
Yeah. Define it. And that's why I think people stay in the acting game as long as they do, because there is something fascinating about it. You don't get to the end of it and say, well, I've done everything I can as an actor, now I'm going to make shoes. You're tempted to do more, or perhaps in the case of many actors, including myself, to do less, so that in the simplicity in which you're doing and feeling things, that it's better revealed.
And when you stayed in... equus, or as affected people say, equus. Maybe that's correct, I don't know.
No,
sometimes affected people are right. You were in it for, I think, 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
Yeah. And now, that's death for some people. They just say you can't, nobody can stay fresh more than 6 months. And is it because in a part like that you could find something new all the time?
I think you could stay fresh as the butler for 2 years. It's always new. I've never understood the school of thought that declares that you get stale or worn out in a role. I don't know why you would. It just, logically, I can see that it might be felt by some people, but it would never be that way for me. I like long runs. It can't be too long for me. It's always work. There's always something new to do. There's always 100 new things to do. On my last matinee of Equus, I made a dozen notes of things to do that night. I knew it would be the last time I had to give it a try, but there were things I wanted to try, things I wanted to discard or add or change.
I liked that. Equus was, I thought, a thrilling production.
Really a thrilling production.
And, but I didn't agree with the philosophy of the play. I found that revolting, but I very much liked the thing itself.
How can you parse the philosophy of the play for us in a sentence or two?
Do I only get a sentence?
Well, or two.
Oh. Well,
let's put it this way. What was it that revolted you?
I'm supposed to be asking the questions here.
Well, I'm interested, since it's one of the most popular plays, perhaps the most popular serious play of the last century, or 50 years at least.
That's right. So only a fool would
No, not at all. No, because I don't think people, all people liked it for its message or for its philosophical statements. I think they liked the drama of it and the psychological thriller aspect of it. But what was it that revolted you? That's a strong word.
The idea that the young man and the idea that the mad are somehow sane, to put it in its most simple term, or that to envy the spontaneity of the crazy.
Well, I think we all envy spontaneity, whether it's of the crazy or of the sane. I think that's more or less the point he was making.
That was.
I think it was only the fact that the boy was crazy or that he was aberrant was only. He only used that as an example, but I think he was making an argument for spontaneity and individuality above that, for just the release and coddling of crazy people.
So it wasn't that we were supposed to envy the young man in his anguished, tortured way, because in some way his life was more rich and spontaneous.
Well, it was more spontaneous.
Than the man who was
perhaps it might have been more rich, but not to be condoned.
Yeah. Well, I see it all now.
He's just saying that, but it's okay.
The other obligatory subject these days for you, I gather.
For me?
For you, is your second entrance in the play that gets a particular laugh, or the first entrance?
Well, he must be referring to the fact that I appear without any clothes on in the...
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, they just told me to ask. I had no idea.
Anyway, that's what it is. And the question was?
The question was, was it the first or the second entrance? And that seemed to be all. It's rather a shallow question. Not really much to it.
It is, in fact,
could you say that?
Well, there isn't much to it, really.
No,
I mean, appearing...
So, remember how a few years ago there was a play, the whole premise of which was that a man was going to appear naked on the stage. He didn't, of course, in the play. It was a comedy, because this was the most unheard of thing ever heard of, to quote the late Senator McCarthy. And in fact, now you couldn't do that old comedy because it's old. Is there anything between your privates and your public when you appear?
Yes, Mia Farrow. Mia Farrow stands between me and... I'm actually facing her, and my back, as it were, is to the audience.
Blocks the... I see what it is. Yeah. No hang-ups about this.
No, none.
Tony, if you hadn't made it, you know, everybody who's in the business knows people who you knew back then who are still working very hard to get somewhere. They aren't necessarily more or less happy than the people who made it, but there's no way of convincing them of that. Can you imagine what you would have turned to if you had banged your head against the wall, had not gotten that break in the film, had not, just for some inexplicable reason, were still doing small roles in Delaware, or even large ones? Could you?
I guess I could have hung out.
Is it...
If you really love the theater and love to perform, it doesn't matter whether you make it to the movies or television specials or not. I think an actor, I've known dozens, hundreds of actors who have never, quote, made it, unquote. But
whatever that means.
They work, exactly. But they work and they enjoy working. In fact, most actors, I think, are happy to be in the professional theater. It doesn't matter to them that they're not, well, it matters to them, that's not right either, but it's a profession that I think you can find satisfaction in, even if you're not in the top 10.
And if he couldn't, I often wondered what would be the nearest thing that you would get that same satisfaction in. Maybe
well, I've
teaching,
always
maybe the ministry, maybe psychiatry, maybe...
I've always thought I'd like to be a portrait painter. But maybe that's what actors do anyway. They paint portraits in another way, so it might have been a logical thing for me to do.
Do you in fact paint?
I used to when I had the time. I suppose if I was an unemployed actor and had plenty of time, I might go back to it.
Every actor of your time was supposed to have been influenced by James Dean.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in any way?
Well, I was certainly impressed by the originality of his talent. Mm-hmm. Of course, it was popular at the time of his emergence to compare him unfavorably with Brando, but, you know, 15 or 20 years later, if you look at them, they are not that similar. That was poverty-stricken minds who were making that comparison. I think he was an original talent, and I think his films today still, I don't think there's anybody who has come along since Dean that had the originality and the passion that he had. Do you agree?
Yeah, I was very taken with him at the time, and since I like him even more.
Exactly.
It's quite startling.
And he's not like Brando. He's not like Brando.
I can't see any connection, except they're both highly realistic in some way, whatever that was. He as tortured a soul as he was supposed. Did you work with him?
No, I didn't work with him. I knew him a little bit because while I was working with, what does that mean?
La musique.
Does that mean?
That means you'll have to tell us that some other time.
Oh, okay.
We have run out of time. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Tony, thank you for being here. Anthony Perkins.
Thank you very much.